Welcome to Drunk Audiobooks with your host, me. This is something new I'm trying, so bear with me. I'm going to read the prologue and we'll see how this goes. And if we get enough response, I'll keep going. If not, just disregard it. Birth of Legends. Book 1. Birth of Legends. Prologue. Angok Mountains. Freezing cold, blasting winds. Hardcore only need apply. But inside the mountains were the warmth of the furnaces that were heated by the love and understanding of those that tended to them. Mainly dwarves, with a spattering of orcs and a dab of humans. Elves were too flighty to live underground, and there was no plains for the herds of Minotaur to wander aimlessly. The other races will not be discussed at this point. Deal with it. The main city was the Halls of Orth, with its vast tunnels and over-the-land bridges covered by many miles. King Brilliant had gone through 5 titles since taking the crown over 500 years ago. He was the youngest king in Dwarven history. The young, the stout, the wise, the ancient, and finally the withered, as his skin was just hanging on for dear life. His bones were frail as fairy dust. For those who do not know what fairy dust is, just imagine something really, really frail. Use your imagination. It saves the author time. And then there was his mind, which had started to go more than 60 years ago. On his 612th birthday, he awoke one morning with a hip dislocation whilst arising from his grand bed. "Oh, whore me out!" he exclaimed, his agony shaking his very soul. Poonbuckle, his ever-loyal advisor for the past 2 centuries, ran into the chamber to see what was amiss. "My damn hip is amiss, you little goof!" the king screamed. He lay back down on his bed and sighed. "How old am I now?" he asked, his head low in defeat. "You are 612 years young today, my good and wise king," Poonbuckle replied. "What the hell does that mean?" "What, my radiant glory monger?" "First, you can stop with the ass kissing. It makes me ill my lower bowel. Shit. I'm not doing takes. This is all one take. Makes me ill my lower bowel. Years young. What does it mean?" "It is showing respect to the elders, O king." "Here's a little secret about old people. We know we're old. We don't need people showing us that kind of respect, reminding us day after day that we can soil ourselves at any given moment. Get your feather out and write down this bit of respectable ancient wisdom. I, Brilliant the whatever insult behind my back be given, decree that on this day, 3 months hence, I shall lay down in a grand coffin under a grand base on which my grand statue will be sculpted. Now, how do you respond to that, you knee-hugging hair licker? Oh, and I know I'm losing my mind, so don't think I'm acting rash or making a questionable decision. I'll die when I'm damn good and ready, and I choose 3 months. And send for gore!" Shit. No, Poonbuckle did not know how to respond to that. In all his years, he had never been yelled at. Perhaps the king was serious about this situation. It took a very strong mind to lie down and will yourself to die. Poonbuckle was curious if the king could live up to that. So arrangements were made for the fateful date. Gore, a superior craftsman, arrived 2 days just after ascending. He was in the next town over, laying out plans for a small cathedral for humans to worship their gods. It was completed in 2 days. That's how fast he and his team could work if the humans stayed out of their way. Gore was a personal friend of the king. Meeting him for the first time, the king issued a challenge of alcohol accuracy. This was a game of drinking and some sort of missile weapon. Imagine dodgeball, the greatest modern sport ever created. It even had a major motion picture featuring Alan Tudyk. Same concept. Either 2 contestants or 2 teams would take turns firing a weapon at each other. You miss, you drink. It continues until somebody is shot or somebody passes out. Simple, glorious fun. It had many names and variations over the centuries, and differing drinks, differing weapons. Arrows and ale, bows and beer, knives and narrow wine, and for the more hardcore, balliste and brown shiner. Anyways, King Brilliant was on the very edge of collapsing when he fired his last shot. Gore, being somewhat of a diplomat, leaned far to his right to let the arrow graze him so that the king could save face. At the post-game party, Gore presented the king with a bronze amulet. It was beautiful, depicting a hawk descending depicting a hawk descending on an unsuspecting squirrel. Above the unsuspecting hawk was a descending baby dragon. Above the unsuspecting dragon was a descending gargoyle. "I ran out of room," Gore said apologetically. "I get the point," the king said. "Always take time to smell your prey." "Absolutely," Gore lied, not knowing what the hell the king meant by that. Over the years, they became close friends. Gore would make something outstanding for the king for no charge, and the king would give him gold for no charge. The king asked Gore to make him a shield of solid crystal for the glory of Orth, the greatest of cities in the Angok Mountains. "I shall put my life into it, my friend. It shall be my greatest accomplishment," Gore told him, feeling stressed over the situation. He had made goblets and wine glasses and statuettes, but never a full shield. It would require hundreds of gold just for the materials, knowing most of it would go to waste until he got it right. "Here's 600 gold, because I know even you're going to screw it up," the king told him. Gore's respect for the king grew immensely at that statement. So bold to confront a master craftsman like that. 3 days... What? 3 days a week, 41 years, and 8 weeks before the funeral did Gore work on that shield. The shield depicted an effigy of a dwarf raising a mighty shield over his head. Members of Gore team said that the dwarf looked very similar to a master craftsman they worked for. Gore then etched the beard out a little more and put an eye patch on the dwarf. On the eye patch it said, "Brilliant, King of Kings." Ironically, 4 days later, King Brilliant lost his left eye playing orc ball under the massive furnace when a drop of molten iron landed on his face. I can't see. What? He and his friends were apparently too uppity for the employees only sign. When finished, the shield's magnificence hid the fact that the eye patch was on the wrong side. So, Gore and his family left their home to deliver the crystal shield of the kings. He was followed by his wife, Punch, their senior daughter, Gore Punch, their second daughter, Punch Gore, their left cousin, Punchy, and their youngest son, Gore Stack. Now bear with the story. Dwarves are extremely practical thinkers and have some of the most complex languages in existence. However, they are the worst when it comes to expanding family names. Stupid rockheads. If there's pausing during the reading, that means that I'm stopping the record so I can drink in case y'all want to hear that. I don't care. Packed in a custom case, the crystal shield of the kings sat in its own cart, pulled by a mule. Gore's family walked beside it. It would be a 4-day trek, and Gore noticed the young Gorstack kept a close eye on the case. "Are we there yet?" Gorstack asked after only 20 minutes of travel. "No, my son. It will be several days before we arrive there." "Oh." And after an hour of blissful silence, "Why are we walking?" "The horses cannot make the journey. They were not designed for walking underground in caves." "Ah." Another hour passed again. "What about sleds?" "This is business, and we need to concentrate on it," Gore scolded. "We are not here to have fun." Gorstack at that point had sleds. Gorstack at that point had decided that his father was not very smart. Most beings could walk and talk at the same time. The farther they traveled, the more he noticed how quiet his whole family was. "Are they all dumb?" he thought. At first night of camp, they huddled around the fire, struggling to keep warm. I don't even know what I'm doing. Struggling to keep warm. They had never really had trouble with the cold. Just keep your body moving, and it would keep warm. He stayed awake, watching and waiting until the family went to sleep. Then he made his move. He went to the cart and opened the case. This was the first time he had actually seen the shield. Since Gorstack was the most practical thinker in existence, he could not appreciate the beauty of the shield. He lifted it and strapped it onto his arm. This was way too heavy for combat. He ran around the cart a few times, dragging it on the ground and swinging the sword around. His grunts and the banging of the shield against the wagon made enough noise to wake the entire family. Gore was the first on the scene. "What in the name of all that is both holy and unholy are you doing?" he screamed. His face was tomato red, and steam was clearly surrounding his body. "This is for a king?" Gorstack asked. "It's way too heavy. You want me to shave it down?" "Can you give me a damn good reason why that thing is out of its case?" "Well, apparently you didn't test it. Really, I could shave it down for you." "Give me the shield now, or I will break your hands." "Oh, goody, now I can show you." "You're just going to have to take it off my dead corpse," Gorstack challenged. He was joking around, of course, but his father had had none of it. Gore went to the cart to get his mace. He chased his son around the cart 3 times before Gorstack lost his balance due to the weight of the shield. And it was a good thing that he did before the mace just missed his head. "I'm going to kill you!" Gore shouted. The rest of his family just watched in shock. They were not going to get involved in this one. "Do your worst, you fag maggot," Gorstack replied. This was so much fun. It had been a while since there had been any father-son bonding. Gorstack remembered his youth when his dad would swing him around on a chain and then let go to see how far he would go. And then there was the time that Dad scrubbed little Gorstack's face raw with pumice to help his beard grow in correctly. Oh, and there was the time last year when his dad tried to sell Gorstack into slavery, saying what a healthy and strong dwarf he had become. The young one had never received such a heartfelt compliment before. And here they were again, playing ring around the cart with weapons. Gore screamed with fury as he again swiped with all his might at the head before him that was his only son. Gorstack barely got the shield up in time to block the mace. 2 things happened at this point. 1, the shield shattered at the top. All that love and work blasted into 100 pieces. 2, Gore had swung so hard that he leaned over the top of the shield, and a shard embedded deep in his chest. Blood was flowing. "Well, shit, you happy now?" Gore asked, falling to the ground. "You okay?" Gorstack asked. "Am I... Are you... Shit me!" Gore closed his eyes and let out his last breath. "Dad? Dad! Hey, Dad! Dad! Dad!" "He's dead!" Left cousin Punchy's. What the fuck is a left cousin? "He's dead," left cousin Punchy said. "He's fine," Gorstack said. "It's just a hole in his chest. I've seen worse." "Dad! Dad! Hey, Dad! Dad! Dad!" "Oof! Oof!" is a word that it's a good word used to describe when being tackled from behind by your mother. "Father, please! Help me!" doesn't really work when your father is not listening to you. Gorstack was on his own to fend off his mother. He was trained by some of the finest... What the hell? Hang on. Can you believe I've gone through a whole bottle of wine by this point? He was trained by some of the best in North, seasoned veterans of wars, former gladiators, and dirty fighters. But this was his mother. He could not fight back. It would be his pain tolerance versus her stamina. A while later, Gorstack had won. He stood up, bloody, bruised, beaten, broken orbital fractures, nose broken in 3 places, but he had won. And to him, that meant something. His mother sat on the ground, staring at a rock. She was unable to move. She sighed heavily. She sighed again, and again, and again. This went on for 5 minutes. It amazed the rest of the family that she had made it past the 5th sigh without passing out. When she did collapse, the family was unable to revive her. Gorstack knelt beside her. "Oh, I know what to do," he said. He beat on her chest for a moment. That did not seem to work. While he worked, the rest of the family gathered in a group hug. That ain't gonna help nobody, Gorstack thought. His mother still wasn't responding, and he hated the last resort. But it looked like he had no choice. He looked up and made sure nobody was watching. He looked at his mother's face and said, "Oh, don't take this the wrong way." He slid his hands down the front of her pants and felt around for a few minutes. He looked up again and saw the family looking at him in complete shock. They had nothing for this. Nothing in their lives could have prepared them for this scene. To see a son with his hand down his mother's pants was just... insert your own adjective. But Gorstack continued searching, his tongue wagging to the side, his brow creased in deep concentration. His eyes lit up, but he seemed to find what he was looking for. He seemed to give something a healthy squeeze, and Punch, mother of all living present dwarfs, including left cousin Punchy, inhaled quickly and screamed. She stared at her son with disdain. "You okay?" Gorstack asked. He was squeezing her clit for... oh my God. "How?" was the only word she could get out before she zoned out, just laying there like a bowl of rice pudding. "Well, you still got the other kids to raise, so I did the deed. Sorry the shield got broke, but I stand by what I say that it ain't fit for combat. And there's the proof," he said, pointing at the numerous shards on the ground. I'll just go ahead and guess that you're all mad at me for killing Pa, so I'll be taking a walk, and it's gonna be a long time before I come back. I'm gonna bring something better than the shield. Maybe a real sword or a loyal army. I understand that Dad was trying to impress the king, but really, crystal? Noob, I'm gonna bring something back that will last his whole lifetime. He's going to be dead in just a few weeks, said senior daughter Gorepunch. Well, I better hurry then. And he ran off into the cold night with only his clothes and his sword. He even left his shoes behind. Meanwhile, back at the main grand hall, Poonbuckle paced back and forth before entering the king's private grand chamber of grand kings. Fuck. Finally, he stopped and sighed, then entered. The king was being well tended by nursemaids, giving him a sponge bath. Yeah, and don't forget my taint. Oh, Poon! I know what you're here for. My liege, we have a serious issue, Poonbuckle said, bowing low. It's okay. You can come in. I've gone my whole life without seeing you naked, so it's about time. Strip down and get on in here. Sire, no, this is a different matter. It seems that the people have denied your request to die, given the fact that nobody likes the heir to... What the fuck? It seems that the people have denied your request to die, giving to the fact that nobody likes their heir to the throne, Ghoulpin the Backstabber. With all due respect, your grandson, sire, the masses will not accept him. Ghoulpin. Yeah, he's a sneaky little bastard. I don't like him either. Did you know he killed the bishop? Poonbuckle did not know this. He thought the bishop fell down the stairs leading to the basement of the grand chapel of the grand Whoa, let me try that again. He thought that the bishop fell down the stairs leading to the basement of the grand chapel of the grand ultimate worship. Oh, Poonbuckle said. He may have fallen down the stairs, but Ghoulpin was right beside him when it happened. That little shit. Sire, about Ghoulpin. Oh, I hate him. What do you think? King Brilliant asked as he winced in pain as a nursemaid lifted his leg. Can we speak alone, sire? Why don't you just join us? Poonbuckle started disrobing and stopped. No. I'll just come back later. Later, Poonbuckle cracked the door to the chamber and peeked in. One nursemaid was left, stroking the king's beard and whispering in his ear. The king smiled and moaned. Poonbuckle entered. My king, if Ghoulpin were to have an unfortunate accident... What? What has happened? Speak quick, or die! What? Nothing, sire. I'm just saying that if Ghoulpin was no longer an option for the throne, then your other grandson, Pool, may have the seat. Pool would be much more accepted. Brilliant motioned for Poonbuckle to get closer and whispered, Are you speaking to me of assassination? I did not say that, sire. I only meant enough. I, for one, think it's an excellent idea. Gather the council and the scribes. We shall have the people vote in 3 days. Vote, my king, on the assassination of Ghoulpin, the sneaky bastard or backstabber or whatever. Sir, you can't vote on that. This is unheard of. You can expect. I expect you to do as I command, or not only will you'll be fired, but I will personally beat your ass all the way to the bathroom and back. 4 days later, the votes were counted. 85% in favor, 3% against, 6 undecided, and 6 not knowing what assassination meant. The king, in his grand chair of comfort, read before the huge gathered crowd the results. And upon further inspection of the votes, if you're undecided, please don't waste my goddamn time writing undecided on the ticket. That just makes you an idiot. I love most of you people, my little fleece white lambs, but undecided means I'd rather sit at home with a thumb up my ass than make a motion to affect the rest of the glorious halls of Orth. So, to you 6%, if you are even here right now, get the hell out of my city! There were great cheers and a handful of embarrassed and downtrodden dwarves that weaved throughout the crowd, looking to escape. King Brilliant stood up with the help of his nursemaids, and held out his arms. Watch your back, Gulpin the Voted. You'll never know when it's coming. Gulpin, far across the courtyard and high in a locked tower, cannot believe any of this. He spent the rest of his short life piling random furniture against his heavy oak door. When there was no furniture left, he threw himself on the pile. He was the last of the dead weight. He was now safe. He watched part of the wall open. Poonbuckle stepped through. Did you forget about your secret passage? Poonbuckle asked him. Ah, crap my ass, Gulpin replied. How did you know? You had me design the tower, you moron. But crap! Okay. That will do it for the prologue, ladies and gentlemen. That's probably the longest of these if I'm going to continue. So, please let me know in the comments on if you think I should do this, and I will even do something a little bit stronger than wine. That was the longest prologue I've ever seen anybody write. So now I gotta go edit and find out what you're gonna look at while listening. Peace out!